And we are very fortunate to have so many partners that work with Wattics, because ultimately they also shape the technology roadmap, because we talk with them very often. We learn from them the different energy problems, energy analytics problems, services that they are doing in their country, and we shape our technology according to their needs. So we remove the pain of developing software, updating it, creating, managing service, database, AWS, and have a software that is secure, is stable, connects to thousands of different type of devices, and we become almost an instrument for our partners to grow faster and to be successful in the energy service market. So housekeeping, so let's go to the agenda. I will show a roundup of the platform innovation in the 2019. So what we have done in this year that is coming to an end. Case studies of how the University of Peru got gold LEED certification. I have a third case studies, a second case studies, which is the cutting high energy consumption in Clayton hotels here in Ireland. I will be featuring a few partnerships in terms of metering hardware. On one side, we work with our energy service companies and energy consultants, our partners. And on the other side, we also work with metering company to create that plug and play turnkey solution that is very valuable when it comes to installing devices, collect data, and then provide analytics and insight from that data. The 2020 energy analytics trends. As we speak with hundreds of different energy service companies and utilities around the globe, we have, well, still humble, but it's a good idea of where the market is probably going in the coming years. And of course, as a technology and a software company, we would like to follow that trend and make sure that the software and the platform is up to date and really state of the art when it comes to trends, because we want our partner to differentiate their offering even more in the coming years, and really achieve as much as possible, and do a great work when it comes to climate change and sustainability. We'll be looking at the outlook of the Wattics technology, what is in the roadmap in the early 2020. And that includes a bulk upload of utility bills. We're working very hard on creating and designing what we call the utility bill recognition, which is powered probably by artificial intelligence. And that will allow thousands of utility bills to be imported onto the platform at a click of a button, and then reconciled. And this will hugely speed up the process of validating those bills and understand where the outliers are and where a further intervention needs to be done. We will be doing KPIs automation, and really we see our partners that are growing massively in their sectors where they operate. Therefore, partners that last year had 20, 30 buildings monitored, this year might have 200. And if the trend goes in that direction, probably next year we'll have 2,000. So we need to prepare our technology to deal with this huge increase of scales and number of data points. And so the expansion of the Wattics machine learning analytics, not only to be focused on energy, but to be focused on performance and KPIs and any other data that today we are able to import onto the platform. I'll be talking about our favorite dashboards, which will allow a great deal of flexibility in terms of creating dashboard, and the performance benchmarking, and finally the question and answer sessions. So we'll try to have this seminar of 1.5 hours. Hopefully we can finish a little bit earlier, but I don't want to rush because there are many things to say. So bear with us because it's quite interesting. Okay. Roundup. Well, I've interviewed some of our partners, and also we have done our analysis in terms of what we have achieved in the 2019, and it's great to see that we have saved, according to our partners, about 60 to 80% in time and cost from our partners to create graphs, report, connect devices. They have estimated that something that before they were doing in say 20 people team, they can do it in 4 or 5 people team. So as you can imagine, the software and the automation that we are pushing very strongly in Wattics is really helping to cutting costs in terms of those recurring, those chores and repetitive tasks that engineers sometimes hate to do. We can pretty much do it by automating our software, so that the engineers and the energy managers they can free up their time to do more high level things. Up to 273% partner growth, and I will have further slides about that, because we have divided the different partners in the growth in the different so the different countries and the different continents where they operate. But some of the countries, they are growing massively. 2 new support offices opened in Germany and in Italy, in Berlin and Treviso. We're planning to open more, we'll see. 13 new success stories published on their website, on our website. So you should see Wattics also as a marketing tool. Our website is visited by thousands of people, tens of thousands of people on a monthly basis, and we publish your stories. Why? Because you are the people, our partners are the people that are doing saving, sustainability, talking to customers. And we are software engineers. We have a very good understanding. I'm an energy engineer as well, an electronic engineer, so I do have a clear understanding of what consultancy means. But we want to collect as many success stories as possible, which we in turn will create more business for yourself. And of course, we're with you in terms of software, so we also gain of this. So it's a win-win relationship. 6 new meter providers have been integrated. 40 new utilities and IoT data parsers have been introduced to the platform, and we have done 10 major software releases across the 2019. But behind the scene, we have done over 350 minor UI, so user interface and dashboard and security improvements. Some of them you can see it, some of them are quite important but are behind the scenes. But the software is really a continuous in a continuous improvement process. And it will be even more in the coming years. This is our partner growth divided by areas. Some of the sectors are early stage sector for Wattics, such as Ireland, UK, Italy, and Europe. So they can grow as much. I think we have many partners there, and they're working very strongly. So they've been increasing between 30 and 50%. But the new emerging countries for us are doing an amazing job. Asia, Oceania, Africa, they are growing hugely with Wattics and with their energy services. But it's great to see that we don't have any negative. So in each country is that we look at our partners when they started with us, and then when they finished with us, we have that level of growth. Amazing. So let's move to the platform innovation for the 2019 and what we have really achieved. I have divided this in 3 areas: reduce analyst time and cost, collaboration tools, and third-party hardware and software integration. So I'm gonna switch off my camera also because I have my video there, and it's just and I don't see the slides myself. So let me turn this off temporarily. And then okay. All right. Okay, I've stopped my video now. I can see my slides. Innovation 2019. On the left-hand side, reduce analyst time and cost. The tools that we have launched for these are the Peak Finder Analytics, which is on the raw data tab. That tool allow very quickly to identify 15 and 30 minutes peaks, and this is very important when the analyst is looking for extra charges that have been applied to the bill, such as the maximum imported capacity, and have a quick validation of where the peak is, and see if that matches with the bill. Very important. Visualize cumulative data. Sometimes we collect interval data or cumulative data, and the software does the magic behind and shows the data on a 5 minutes, half an hour interval, hourly interval, daily interval. But we want also to visualize cumulative data to see the actual cumulative values that are collected from the meters. This is now available in the raw data tab as an extra button. There has been a huge improvement on the IPMVP user interface. For who does not know, IPMVP stands for International Protocol for Measurements and Verification, and this is the most widespread protocol used by energy professionals to verify energy savings following an energy efficiency project. It allows to introduce adjustment, non-routine and routine adjustment, and variables that shapes the energy. We have, I think, one of the best user interface for this. So it's a 9-step process, very quick, very sleek, that creates a nice report, bespoke, of course, for our partners. I can provide more information about this for whoever is new and it doesn't have the platform. Just get in touch with us. Flexible processing of CSV data files, formula meter applied to cost. So now our formula composer, our innovative formula composer can be also applied to cost and included in as a bill validation. So you can create a cost meter, and that cost meter is available in the utility bill report, and that will allow basically to create very specific utility bills based on formulas. If you have renewables, for example, or if you want to share that energy across the different tenants, you can create bills that can be quite complex, or but the system now manages also that part, and allow deletion of data points. So they allowed deletion of data points, which has been introduced in the 2019 as a it means that we give the technology gives permission, allows the partners to delete data points when they are not used anymore, which means that we can then optimize the subscription. So if you have 10 meters that you no longer need because you have maybe the project has finished, or you've moved the meters somewhere else, you can delete those data points from the platform, and you will optimize your subscription based on that. We call it elastic pricing. And I think we are the only one really in the market that provides an elastic pricing to optimize the bills of our customers. If we move to collaboration tools, we have in-app documents sharing, interactive notes, and third-party embedded apps and website. These three beautiful tools have allowed a huge amount of sharing and collaboration among energy managers. The documents sharing, it means that our energy analyst can upload documents to be shared with the users, the end users who have access to the platform as well. Interactive notes on breakdown means that for each spike or each issues or something that an energy manager want to share with the team, they can now do, and they have a record of notes. And the third-party embedded app allows any other website to be embedded onto the Wattics platform, so that you have an extra button in a drop-down menu, and you can connect to third-party applications such as Solar or such as Trello board, project management tool, even Google Drive sometimes, I've seen it, or Google Spreadsheet, or Google Docs in general, that can be embedded onto the platform. And that is, it creates quite a good amount of collaboration. When we move to third-party hard and software integration, WattWatcher for Australia has been a very successful integration. Buddy is an IoT devices company across the US. They have it's a public company across the US and Asia. They are based in Sydney and they are based also in Seattle. They have integrated their devices and they've been using our platform extensively. RESTful API to build third-party analytics. We have a very comprehensive API. We love developers and third-party developers that can use our API to retrieve data and develop their own application. Many do. And finally, the data gap and the Sentinel webhooks. Nowadays, we can also send and ping through webhooks to third-party application in case there's a data gap, to completely automate the process of retransmitting the data in case there's a gap. It's been quite a lot of work for this part, but you know, it is only going to get better and better, and the platform is going to get slicker and fancier. So we will keep this work, and most of this work has been done based on your suggestions, your requirements, your needs, and we really want to continue in this vein. Now, trends and vision for the 2020. Let's start with this picture, which is it's not my granddad. I wish he was, but my grandmother was also good. This is Picasso. I'm always doing things I cannot do, and that's how I get to do them. Here at Wattics, we will never stop innovating. We love innovation. The software is something that it's in continuous evolution. Things that we develop today, in 1 or 2 years, they're obsolete already. This is how this sector is evolving. So we will never stop innovating on this sector. And it's done most of the time thanks to you, that we are able to design certain features that really make the difference. Now, trends and beyond. The global energy market is increasing dramatically, and in the next 4 years, it will have an average growth rate of 13.78%. That's only software. Energy services, they even have a much bigger growth, but this is particularly for the software side. And the energy services will be bespoke. If I remember 3 or 4 years ago, sometimes we used to go to a customer, a hotel or manufacturing company, telling them that we wanted to do energy management or energy monitoring. And sometimes they came back to us saying, okay, what is this about? Today people know what is energy management, what is energy services, and they're actually more demanding. They want more, they want performance, they want a connection to ERP systems, they want to collect data from any sort of devices that already have in place, and will be more and more. Connecting enterprise cloud energy analytics to other software for big and small clients will be key, okay? And because we will be more and more connected, we will have also to identify a path to guide our clients from sites that are not monitored today or very poorly metered. For example, customers that only have utility bills and therefore only one value per month, to a full submetered site where they can break down their energy consumption in the different machines, and then finally be certified as sustainable and really kind of optimize their building functionalities. And I think this path it will be more and more. So guiding the user into a journey is very important. And never like now, customer checks their website and buy based on other people's opinions. So cold calling is not anymore viable. We have stopped doing cold calling at all. I mean, we don't do sales in that way. We want people to find us out through the things that we do, and that's why your customer, they have to become your energy champion and advocate your work to the mass. And we will help you by providing customer success, and by providing success stories and everything. Okay. I'm seeing some questions that are there. Please do write questions as it comes to your mind, and we will address those questions at the end of the seminar. Okay. So what is our vision for the 2020? Well, based on the previous slides, we like to be in line and aligned with this vision. We can provide dedicated software engineering and support team, which is needed to connect new devices and platforms for you to allow closing more deals. Develop bespoke functionalities for you. And I want to kind of stop a little bit on this point, because many software as a service company like we are, they tend to provide a software and stick to it without actually engage with customers in making changes. We develop bespoke functionalities for you. We have resources and a great engineering team that can address your needs, and we bend our technology towards your specific needs. So we speak to our partners, and if the partners needs a particular functionality, we put in place a dedicated project. We'll strike deals based on an increase of subscription license, and we'll release that functionality. We do that, and we call it enterprise SaaS, or enterprise energy analytics. And it's for us, it's quite important, because we know that the energy sector is different. We are not HubSpot or Salesforce that may have a platform that available to everybody. We want to shape our software according to your needs, okay? And providing new analytics to reduce your time, creating KPIs, benchmarking. We will move towards managing large bulk of data inside and automate any repetitive tasks. As I said before, many of our partners, they're moving from tens of monitor sites to hundreds of thousands, and therefore we need that flexibility to manage, filter, benchmark, and do all the good things at scale with thousands of data points and sites. We will create a customer journey then from site, from one to thousands of sites that are first monitored by the main utility meters, which will be recognized and reconciled onto the platform to a more granular level analytics. And then we support multiple currency. We understand that some of our customers are in the US or in the UK or in Australia. So we are happy to support multiple currency because they are selling in their currency. And we help you with marketing and disseminating your success stories, which will in turn create more business for you. And let's move to the success stories. I have this couple of success stories. The first one is university in Peru that got a gold LEED certification. LEED stands for Leading in Energy Efficiency Design. Yesterday, I actually had Hector Miranda, who is the managing director and founder of the company that is called Regenerativa. It's the company that has shared the success stories with us. Today in Peru is probably overnight at this time, so he is not available today. But I know the story very well, so I'm gonna share a few slides. So this is the Pontificia Universidad Católica de Peru. It's the first sustainable energy and with LEED accredited laboratories, which is leadership in energy and environmental design. So the problem there was that there was the first thing that needed to do is the deployment of smart meters to collect and record energy data. The deployment of a platform that would provide visibility into how, when, and where energy was used in the campus building, and the report the required data to ARC. ARC is the USGB's tool used to earn a LEED certification from existing buildings. And ARC is this user interface which has energy, water, waste, transportation, and human experience. And as this goes around, it means that you're doing well. It means that you're getting more green. So this is part of the LEED way of certifying buildings. They wanted to connect the Ecometricas platform, which is effectively powered by Wattics. It's the Wattics platform branded Regenerativa, connect this platform to ARC. The solution was, the first thing was to automate the data collection from smart meters. It was a 24-hour monitoring to track improvements and performance, accessibility into energy consumption value, ability to import relevant building data, not only energy, and reporting that to ARC and monthly energy, water consumption, waste, and so on. Ability to establish the baseline through IPMVP, and the baseline was necessary to do energy measurements, measure and verify ongoing savings. And the solution then was delivered by Wattics in a turnkey solution, meters plus software, plus analytics, plus our expertise, which led to accredited LEED certification for a number of faculties and buildings across the campus. And really these had a tremendous increase in property values beside the energy savings, of course, and the sustainability, and this will most likely lead to more university to adopt the LEED certifications and to give more work to Hector. Okay, here is the campus. The second one is at Clayton Hotel. So Clayton Hotel is one of is a major hotels that is in the area. It's just across Google here in Dublin. You know, we have the area close to the close to the sea, the docklands we call it, and in there we have all the major software companies, Fortune 100 companies there. So Clayton Hotel is a fairly large hotel, quite fancy. They engaged with us a few years ago. This is the hotel here. This is the convention center. This is, I think it's Accenture. Google is just beside. Quite a fancy area of Dublin. There is in the hotel a large swimming pool, jacuzzi facilities, and the maintenance department found there several inefficiencies. The problem to be solved was that sometimes air conditioning was left on in non-critical areas during off-peak times. The hotels has over 50,000 euro consumption per month as a number of rooms, I think 200 or 300 rooms. The swimming pool was consuming excessively in times where it was supposed to be closed. Well, they didn't know before installing Wattics, but then when we started to break down the consumption and see where the cost was going, they also saw unplanned energy spikes that really were driving up maximum imported capacity. So this was just on the swimming pool part. I think other interventions were done elsewhere in the hotel, but the solution was to sub-meter areas, understand where the cost was going first. KPIs and benchmark were put in place on the platform to compare energy trends against the number of occupants, the number of customers that the hotels had, the number of meals when it comes to kitchens and that part of the hotel. Alert and notify key personnel about energy spikes. Before operational wastage, we have, as some of you know, we have that operation analyzer, which is a very key tool that allows very quickly to forecast energy savings. So utilizing the operation analyzer in Wattics, they could identify opportunities of saving and then take a decision where to invest. Okay, this is what has been reported. There's been on track offset consumption and cost. It's about to achieve 40,000 in energy saving in 2018 and 2019. So this is about probably close to 10% of the hotel's energy savings. There's been a return on investments in a few months. I think probably kind of considering the cost of our software, this is probably a couple of months for them savings, return on investments, sorry. 2, 3 reconfiguration of AC set points based on energy and weather, KPIs and alert. This the manager put that in place, so he receives a notification if there is a spike, so if there is some abnormal energy consumption in the hotel, for example, somebody that overrides set points. They actually decided to buy a swimming pool cover solution because they saw that there was a huge amount of heat dispersion. The cover solutions for the swimming pool has hugely decreased the amount of energy needed to heat up the pool. And then they realized that the variable speed drives need to have some recommissioning, which they had variable speed drive, but as it happened in many other sites, sometimes having a variable speed drives, it doesn't necessarily mean that that variable speed drives is configured properly to work. We have other case studies where reconfiguring or recommissioning variable speed drives, they have led to a tremendous savings with no additional cost because the VSD is already installed. Dublin Airport, it was another solution where they achieved over 30% when we identified that the variable speed drive across Terminal 1 were not really operating properly. Okay. Featured hardware partnership 2019. Okay. Now that we have talked about these two case studies, and it would be great to see your feedback, to know your feedback about them, I'd like to move towards a couple of featured hardware partnership, which separately we can even talk more, but today we're going to touch just some featured integrations. The first one is with renewables. You know, renewables, they are buoyant across the world. So we have to not only integrate with the energy consumption and gather data from energy consumption, but also from energy generation. So we have integrated Solar Edge. I think we're on our way to integrate Fronius. And we have other solar that sends data to us via CSV files or using our API. So renewables will be stronger in the future in terms of integration. The second one is the IoT platform body that I was mentioning before. They completely adopted, they had another platform before using Wattics. As the market is evolving, customers that before they wanted just to see the data and to display their energy data online, today is not sufficient. They want tools, they want to understand what to do with the data. And that's why Body decided to completely switch to Wattics and use our API and our what we call the React components to develop our features directly onto their dashboard. So using our React components, which are Java React components, they could basically embed entirely our platform onto their servers and use Wattics. So it's a body platform powered by Wattics. We have integrated with new universal gateways. These gateways, they have a large amount of Modbus devices already supported. So every time that we encounter a new Modbus or a new device, we many times suggest a Gavazzi gateway because it's plug and play onto Wattics. The multi-channel e-gauge meter is also a very versatile, very powerful, and very widespread solution to monitor multi-channel distribution board. So if you have a distribution board and you want to break down the consumption in the different areas, an e-gauge is plug and play into Wattics, and we have a dedicated configuration user interface that allows you to commission the e-gauge to push data to Wattics. And the last one is the Watt Watcher, which is a 3G and Wi-Fi widespread meter in Australia and in Oceania, that is providing very good results and a very good feedback from customers there. 2020 outlook and technology roadmap. Okay, so let's move into what is going to happen in 2020 and why we should be excited about this. And of course, this technology roadmap may vary according to your inputs and according to your feedback. So stay tuned. But at the moment, that's what we see where we're going in the beginning of 2020, okay? So the first thing that I wanted to talk is we call it the green machine revolution. Okay. So what we see the world going is that around the world we still see what we call the gray mass, which are sites that are not metered, utility bills that have only utility bills. There is no understanding of where the wastage is going. They pollute a lot. There is a CO2 emission. There are inefficiencies going on. This site, sometimes a portion of them, they become enlightenment businesses. Enlightenment businesses are businesses that decide to install real-time meters that understand the importance of become sustainable, to look at the future, at climate change, and they start breaking down their energy cost, understand where the cost is going, because the first step is understanding in order to improve, performs what-if scenarios, analyze results and benchmark, and then detect anomalies. And then they become what we call green stars, which are the buildings and the companies that become certified ISO, LEED, BREEAM, Green Stars, CASHP, and they install renewable and energy efficiency solution. And these are great achievers, which then becomes energy champions when they realize of the importance of the return on investments of the sustainability, and they contribute to the future of this planet, and also to the future of their companies, because they save money. They become promoters, they become contributors of success stories, and they booster the rest of the gray mass. So this last part where they become promoted is very important, and that's why case studies and success stories that you must write and even provide to us to distribute and to disseminate on our website and through LinkedIn pages and through network and everything is terribly important to inform this gray mass that actually something needs to be done. And in order to do that, we need to provide technologies for you to achieve this machine. The first thing is that something that we currently don't necessarily have on the platform, or we do it but not in a strong way, which is understand utility bills and allows you to import thousands of utility bills and recognize those bills and have them accounted and reconciled onto the platform. Okay. There are tools out there in the market. They do. They allow you to import utility bill manually, or they do only that part, but they don't do the analytics. But we want basically to have you at 365 degrees onto Wattics, and starting from site-only analytics that allows you bulk data imported by Excel, utility bill import by Excel, and really allow you to import all of this utility bill so that we identify the sites that need a further breakdown analytics and inform. So the first step will be to gather as many data as possible from these bills, understand which site needs a further analysis, and then we know the breakdown analytics, and we do this part very well today. And then the third one is the technology from Green Stars, where the automated utility bill imports will be merged with the breakdown analytics to provide portfolio benchmarking, bulk data import, CO2 reporting, KPI metrics, which will bring everything together into the journey that we were showing before. So delving into actually how that will be implemented into the platform, I'd like to touch what we call the portfolio benchmarking of performance. The first thing is, this is the platform that you are familiar with, many of you, the Wattics platform, that sometimes you probably have it completely branded for your company and put it on your website. So, yeah, as you know, this can be changed, the color can change, and login page and everything else. But we will allow from the data tab to upload portfolio configuration file, where you can very quickly allow user, site, metrics, and tariffs to be uploaded onto the platform, and create the tree menu, create the tariff in bulk, the KPIs, the metric, and so on. So if you click here, there will be a standard Excel file format which will allow to configure the site, meter appliance, user address, meter type, granularity, unit, and KPIs, and everything else. And this is for the tree menu, for the metrics, for the users, and for the tariffs. So it would be one file that will allow your platform to be kind of ready to go in no time. The second thing would be, once you have the platform entirely set up with your tariff, your site, your organization, everything, we will allow here two new buttons. One is the CO2 emission, which we calculate CO2 from kilowatt hour, a map, because it's nice to have also on a map view of where the buildings are located, and do search by geography or filter by geography. And on this side, in here, you will have the benchmark capability. So if you click on the benchmark, you can select your KPI. And once you select your KPI, you will be able to benchmark all of your site by the KPI that you have selected. At this point, you will have also the ability to change the KPI, and here you will have some filtering as well that you can do. So you can filter, for example, by organization, you can filter by meter, by site, by sector. This interface may change, but the concept, I think, is clear enough. So we will allow you to really kind of do a much finer granularity in how to select and how to create KPIs and so on. But also a new type of graphs, such as the bubble chart, which will allow to identify the performance and people that are outliers when it comes to performance. Okay. Second is the Sentinel artificial intelligence analytics that we already have. This has been a huge request from our partners. Sentinel is very much used for kilowatt today. Why not enable Sentinel for all the different performance metrics that we have? So the Sentinel analytics, which for whom doesn't know Sentinel, it's our machine learning consumption. It develops this green band of expected consumption for a particular circuit that is monitored, and the black line, if it goes beyond or above or below the expected energy consumption, it alerts the manager, or it alerts the user that there is an unexpected consumption going on. But this will be extended to any performance. So it could be energy versus weather, it could be energy versus temperature, it could be people counting, I don't know. But why not having Sentinel, which is a very powerful recognition engine, also recognition of abnormalities available also for all the other performance. So we will make that available for you. And third, on what we call favorite dashboards. This is part of the collaboration effort that we like to push in the 2020. We know the breakdown tab. This is the major tool, one of the major tools that you guys use a lot in terms of breakdown and analyze and compare the different sites with the control panel and the meter. We will allow this star, which is our favorite dashboard. So if you like to pin that particular graph, because that particular graph is very important for you or for another user or for another user group, for example, the managers of McDonald's or the, and you want to share that graph with them, you will pin this. You give a name, you decide whether you want a dynamic graph that uploads automatically as we receive new data, or static, so it stays on the same day, and you share that with the user. So you select the user and you save it, and then once you save it, you create your favorite dashboard, which will appear in a new star here as a new functionality. And this is quite good because at a glance, at the blink of an eye, I have all my favorite graphs and charts that I need to monitor, rather than going through the platform and look for the different graphs as you do now. But not only that, you'll have this little chain here, which will return a URL or a short code, and that short code or URL is the one that you can actually put in your website. For example, here I have the Climate Chance website that has chart. This is as an example, and they can possibly embed their charts so that if somebody clicks, it will allow you to log in, because we not necessarily want to have that chart publicly available, but only to people that can log in. And once they can log in, they have their chart embedded into their website. And this is great because then, you know, the user is empowered, and you can empower your users in having dedicated chart directly where they want. Okay. Of course, when you're coming back to our platform, if you click on this, you have a zoom, and you can take back to the breakdown tab. So, right. The other things that I like to talk today is about automated utility bill validation. Now, this is something new for us, but because we've been collecting data in real time, so the platform is very mature and very strong in collecting data in real time, breakdown, and do kind of the heavy duty of data collection from IoT device, weather station, renewables, meter sensors, and so on. But we said, okay, actually our partners, all of them, they analyze their bill and they upload their bill manually onto the platform. And sometimes they have a separate tool to managing those bills, and they do it manually most of the time. Why not having our Pacman Wattics that crunches those utility bills and recognize them and upload those bills and with the different charges onto the Wattics platform in thousands. Okay. So in the coming months, you will see that the platform will be enriched by a new tool called Bill Analytics, where you can effectively upload your bills in bulk. And the bills will appear here. The system will recognize the different fields, and then you can map those fields into what you want to import, whether it's the kilowatt hour total, the period 2, period 3, the tariff, maximum port capacity, distribution charges, and everything else. And once what we call a template of bill is created, you can then upload as many bills as you want, which will then appear in a new dashboard for utility bills. And this will be the start of the bill validation, or the automated bill validation engine, which will be quite powerful for those customers that are not yet metered, but they still would like to understand why and how their bill changes and the different charges. Okay. This will allow also to do utility bill benchmarking. You'll still be able to use the tools of the platform, and it will bring everything together effectively. And another things before I close down, because it's about an hour and I want to open to discussion and question and answer in the next 15 to 20 minutes, is the new 2020 analyst services subscriptions. Now, many partners are asking us, can we use your analyst, or can you do certain services? Can you create tariffs monthly report for us? Can you validate a send monthly user report, or do IPMVP project for us, or even create sales proposal based on site surveys? Because we know that we have the knowledge of the meters sometimes, what meters is most appropriate, and so on. Now, we had two choices, whether to stay kind of just software and just avoid all of these questions, but we actually want the platform to be used, to tariffs to be created, data points to be managed, site metric questionnaire to be sent to the users, and so on. And we are reserving some new service subscription, whether some analyst in the 2020 could be made available for you to really release you from the pain of managing site metric questionnaire, or creating data points, or creating sales proposal. So we will enable this new service subscription. These are not software, but are more kind of analyst time that will allow you to fix issues with data and with support during meter installation, for example, and will allow you to kind of scale up your business faster. So get in touch with me if this is something that may be interesting for you, and we can discuss if we can help further with our analytics services. Okay, I think I've exhausted my presentation. I hope you find it useful. It's now 5 minutes to 11 Irish time, and let's open the fields to questions. Amy, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. So we've gotten a few questions posted in the Q&A throughout the presentation. So the first one from Umar Shankar was, does the Wattics platform provide automated web scraping from utility websites?
The question is, that is something that we can look at as a bespoke development for you. As you know, there are thousands of websites, and each website has to have its own parser or its own web scraping. We have done that many years in the past. It is something that we can discuss, and we can take a look at the type of website. So please get in touch with me, and then we can schedule a further call. So if you can share also some username and password to the website that you want to scrape some information, we will take a look and see what needs to be done on that site. So the question is, yes, we can take a look, and we see what if it's feasible and how long it takes. Okay.
Thanks again for your question. The next one is, going back to the Clayton Hotels case study, what is the ROI of the solution and how did you calculate it?
The ROI has been probably a couple of months. I simply calculated by, let me just go back to, it's probably kind of better that I just go back in this way. For the Clayton Hotel, they reported a 40,000 reduction in energy. So the solution was something like a little bit above 10,000. I think it was a 15,000 euro installation between hardware and software. So you can make the math yourself if they are on track to save 40,000 per year, and the cost of the solution, hardware plus software, was 15,000. That will give probably 3-4 months ROI. I hope that answers your question. Let me know otherwise.
Thanks, Antonio. And then we have a question from Ivan. CO2 emissions, well, a statement and a question. CO2 emissions from kilowatt hours dependent from the energy mix. What is the formula you would use to compute or to calculate CO2 emissions?
Good question. So we do have our what's called formula composer, okay, which is one of our tools that allow to create any formulas, and that formula can become a data point. So we can literally make any formula, multiplication, division, constant, across different points, across weather, per month, whatever. Okay, so it's called formula composer, and it used the almost the Excel syntax to create that formula. And once we create the formula, it becomes a real-time point. So the CO2 calculation will be based on probably the formula composer, but will reside here rather than being another point. So to answer your question, you give us the formula that you need to apply for calculating your CO2, and we'll input the formula in our formula composer, and that the CO2 will be calculated bespoke, so according to the formula you gave.
Okay, thanks, Ivan, for your question. I'm going to move on to some of the questions we received in the question and answer piece over here. So we've got another one from Ranga. Who will install the smart meters for your customers? Is it being done by you or by us? or your partners or the customers?
Good question. So when it comes to we don't install hardware ourselves. We provide you remote support and commissioning of those meters to Wattics in a very slick and you know, we have meters that has been installed as far as Australia or China remotely, and we manage from here. So, but we do have hundreds of different partners that do install meters in different jurisdictions across the world. So it has happened before, and it will happen in the future that we can refer to an installer that is based in the UK, in Italy, in China, in Costa Rica, in the US, in Brazil, wherever you are, okay? In India, Pakistan, and so on. So we do have our partners that provides installations of the software there. Some meters we can provide directly pre-configured from here, such as the Accu Energy meter or Gavazzi, or we can we have distribution prices. We don't put margin kind of on the meter, our gains, and on the software, but sometimes we pre-configure those hardware meters and ship it to you as a turnkey solution. But then, and we can inform you how to install it, or we can refer it if we have to a local partners that does it and help you out. Okay, so usually we introduce people that can help you with the installation.
Thank you. Thanks, Antonio. So just while we're on the topic of hardware and devices, we have another question from Paul. I think you might have covered this question in your previous answer. Do you sell hardware like meters? Yes, we do. But I'd pass this over to Antonio to maybe recap on some of our partnerships with some hardware device providers.
Yeah, so maybe I'll still share my screen so I can move quickly to our Wattics website here. So if you go on our platform here, there is a sub-menu called supported devices, okay? In supported devices, this is a list of the major, the devices that we support fully and that we are fully integrated onto the platform. Now, we don't resell or we don't distribute this ourselves, but for example, the Accu Energy, we can do that. Are you still? Am I sharing my screen? Can you see my website, Amy?
Yes, we can. But you might want to switch to the website. We see the presentation at the moment.
Oh, because I'm actually okay. It's maybe frozen. So let me just stop and start again the video, because I was looking at my website, but for some reason it was frozen. Share. Yeah, I understand what happened. So let me share this one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for letting me know. So I was still sharing the presentation on the website. So this is the website. If you go on the platform, supported devices, you can see the list of supported devices. Some of them we provide directly. So we stock here in Dublin and in Italy, and yeah, we can stock also in Berlin, and we provide them directly to you. The reason is sometimes our partners comes with the request that they don't want to buy hardware from elsewhere and then manage directly. They want to have a turnkey solution. So the Accu Energy devices, we provide them at distribution price, the same price that you would get from Accu Energy, and Gavazzi as well. Other devices such as well, the epicensor, yes, we can provide directly from us. The advantage of getting the meter and the software from us is that the meter comes here, it gets pre-configured so that when you install it, it's plug and play. and has been very successful for many companies that we work with, because they sometimes you just want to deliver the meters to the electrician or to the installer, but not necessarily that particular person knows how to configure the meter. It knows how to install it, how to connect the switch, but not how to commission the meters. So having the meters pre-configured is very good. Other meters such as the Watt Watcher or the e-gauge, the Elvaco, and so on, we just refer them. You can buy them directly from their website, and we can show you how easy it is to just configure those to push data to Wattics. Iskremco also, we can provide them directly. This one is a utility meter that is based in kind of Iskremco. It's a multinational company, and this is plug and play into Wattics. Quite widespread use. It's very cost effective, very stable meter for utility billing as well. Okay, so some of them we provide, some of them you can purchase directly and let us know, and we connect them to the platform.
Great, that's all that information on our device. So by devices available through Wattics, you'll find on our website. We have another one, a question from Zhao. Hi, Zhao. Will the new utility bill be available to all subscriptions or to specific subscriptions?
Well, there will be a new plan, okay, a new subscription plan. We haven't made our mind up in terms of which subscription we'll have. It's probably wise to have a new subscription that handle utility bill only and recognition for people that do not necessarily have the meter installed, but they still have thousands of bills, and that will allow them to kickstart with the energy management, utility bill based. But then, the functionalities will probably be introduced also with the new subscription plus benchmarking, Maestro Analytics. So I think we'll make it flexible to be included or not to be included in subscription. But first we develop the technology, then we talk to our partners and how they will use the new technologies, and then we'll decide whether it's the case to actually provide a new subscription altogether, or an upgrade of the existing one, or to have them included. Okay, so we haven't made up our mind if we are going to provide a separate subscription or not.
Okay, another follow-up question on the utility bill seems popular today. What type of files will the utility bill upload?
These interesting questions. So if I jump back onto well, otherwise I can just talk because I have my website now that is that appeared. Actually, let me stop sharing, and I will share again the presentation. Share. Okay. Right. The utility bill mapping will be quite important because will allow you to import the first utility bill from a particular provider, and the system will recognize that bill, and because that bills will have its own writing and the positions, and our recognition engine will allow to kind of pinpoint the different fields, and you can then and those fields will be mapped. Okay, so you can decide yourself which of the fields that are being recognized to be imported. So we will allow creating what we call the bill recognition template according to the utility provider. And once you save that template, then you can reuse it, and you can import thousands of bills on that template. So if you have 10 different provider or suppliers, the first thing is to import the one bill for each supplier, create templates for each of them, and then those templates will be used for the different recognition engine that we run. Doesn't answer the question?
I think so. We will follow up on these questions. We will have the details provided, our details, and if you have any further questions after the webinar, if you still have any questions, we will more than happily answer. Just to move on, because we have quite a few questions over here. How, from anonymous, how are KPI benchmarks calculated?
How the KPI benchmark is calculated. So it's probably kind of the gentleman it may not have the platform. So in the way we do at Wattics for the benchmark is that you have the full flexibility of creating metrics. Okay, so say that you want to connect that you want to create a KPI that is kilowatt hour divided by number of cover in a restaurant. Okay, at this point you'll have two choices. Either you have somebody automated that push CSV files or Excel file to Wattics every day or every month with the number of covers that you had on a daily basis or on a monthly basis to your restaurants. And then from the Wattics platform, you can actually create that particular formula, which is in this case energy divided by cover. So you create cover as a new data point, and then the KPI is basically created through our formula composer. And once you have that KPI, which is energy divided by metric, you'll have it. So in this way, you can create any KPI that you're willing to create. There are certain KPIs that we would like to have it automated. This is, for example, the square meter. So if you create a site, the system, if you enter the square meter of the site, then the system will allow that KPI to be available from the start, or the KPIs of energy divided by heating degree days, cooling degree days. The system automatically imported this data already. So you don't need to push any further data, and this sort of basic KPIs are created automatically. If your bespoke KPIs need to be manually configured through the interface. Once you have them, you can push data and create that KPIs via data logger, the push data, or retrieving the files CSV, or by manual upload of the metric. Okay, so it's probably kind of good to go quickly onto the dashboard to show that, although just very quickly, let me see. Yeah, here share. So if I go to just enter here. If I go to our dashboard for a second, so you on the formula composer, this will allow to effectively type your best resort, and this is, for example, the energy of the best resort Inc. So if you want to do this divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, this is effectively your KPI. And it's a ratio. You can create a new point and you can call it KPI. So this is how the KPIs are created now. So you just write the formula of your KPIs, which is the kilowatt hour divided by something. It can be KPI divided by heating degree days or air quality or anything that is here. Once you define your KPIs, you create a point. This will appear here, and that is your that's your KPIs. But when you will have the benchmark, the certain KPIs are automatically created from the admin. So you will have all your metric and KPI created at once, and then they will appear here. Okay.
Thanks, Antonio. Our next question is, it's another hardware question. What happens if hardware does not integrate with Wattics? And by this question, I think that the person is meaning if we are not currently integrated with perhaps a device that they are using, what is our methods to kind of make that connection work or get their data to Wattics?
Very good. Okay, we do this all the time. So there's nothing new in integrating a new meter device. The first step is to request a data sheet from your device so we understand what you have on your site. Suppose that you have a Modbus device. If that's the case, then we will ask or we will try to retrieve from the meter manufacturer what is called the Modbus mapping. Okay, and in that case, the Gavazzi gateway can be programmed with a new Modbus mapping to read the data from your device. Okay, this is the case where you have a Modbus-based metering unit, and that it cannot push data to Wattics, but it requires an extra gateway to be installed that has the right mapping to retrieve data from your meter. If your meter is more intelligent, that can push CSV files, we get a sample of your CSV file, we configure our parser, we give you a username and password so that you can configure your metering device to push data to Wattics. And just to give you an example, if we go to the supported device, let's find, for example, the Schneider Comex 510, a very common device. How can that push data to Wattics? We have a specific CSV file parser for this gateway. So if you go on the setting of this particular meter, the COMEX, you can go on setting, select publication, select CSV export to an FTP. We give you our FTP server credential, the username and password, and then this particular device start pushing data from the meters to Wattics. And we know already that when it comes from this particular device that is being registered on the platform, we are able to parse the data. So the next meter will have a different CSV file. Give us a sample. We'll return the username and password, and then you can configure your device to push. And this is the other very common way of pushing data to Wattics. The third common way is through API. We have a RESTful API where to push data to, but also we can develop a bespoke project, provided that you have there is a certain level of subscription. We can actually dedicate our software engineer to query the data from a specific API. Okay, for example, solar and PV. If we go on the Solar Edge, we actually connect directly to their API. So there's an API key that every time that you do an installation of a Solar Edge, you return an API key. You put that API key onto the platform, and our software directly query the data from the inverters that is online in Solar Edge. So we can also connect via API. So there is not only one way. There are several type of way in which we connect to meter device, whether on a push or pull fashion. So we just need to understand what you have on your side, and we'll do the work. Okay, just send us the data or the information about your devices, and then we'll take it from there, what we need to do.
Yeah, that's great. You can contact us directly through our website, and we will get in touch with you. Another hardware question: how can we get a price list for the devices from Colin? We do have a price list for various devices that we do integrate with. You can leave your email address, and we can contact you with the necessary information. You can as well, if there's any other questions or details that you do want, you can put your email address and address it to the panelists in the chat box, and we can get back to you with the necessary information. Thank you, Colin, for your question.
Yeah, I'm just here to kind of we don't sell hardware for the sake of selling hardware. We provide hardware distribution price to our partners. So the first step would be to kind of to engage with us and open a partner subscription with us, whether it's a Composer or a Maestro plan, and at that point the partners can access the distribution price of the different meters that we provide, okay, or the whole support to buy the meters from directly from the manufacturer.
Oh, thanks for that, Antonio. Thanks for clearing that up. I think we have time probably for one more question, which I have here in the Q&A section. So we have a question from Sanal, who is asking what I understand to be time of use tariffs, and how we can generate reports or bills with time of use tariffs. Antonio, would you mind kind of explaining or kind of talking a bit about our reports and our bills and how we can incorporate time of use tariffs in that feature?
Yes, time of use tariff. Well, let's, for example, go into our reporting parts. If you wanted to create tariffs or reports based on time of usage, and you go into, so define a new report. So these are templates of bespoke reports that you have already available, and you can just tick the box if you want this particular page of report to be added to your report. One of them is utility bill, where you can create tariffs and bespoke utility bills that looks like this. When they get sent, they will have completely your brand and your logo around. So this is just a blank utility bills, but all of these fields can be created. So if we go onto ticking this box, you can add section here, and for example, here would be time of usage tariff, and you can add an item here, which is, for example, night tariff, and this could be, for example, in kilowatt hour with time range. So you select the time range of your time of usage, for example, okay, and that would be 0.1. And then you can add another item, which could be, for example, on peak kilowatt or other type of tariff. So we do have, so this will allow you to select the different kilowatts based on the time range, so time of use. Basically, or on peak kilowatt, 50 minutes kVA, daily dashboard tariff. So the dashboard tariffs, so the dashboard tariff is the tariffs on the dashboard, so I can jump onto that as well. So this particular tool will allow you to create section and items that will then be part of your bill. Okay, if you're doing tenants billing, if you are on the dashboard and you want this breakdown tab to show value in cost, okay, for example, in 5 minutes granularity in dollars, for example, you can put your tariff here, and to add the tariff, you just add, you have this, so you can select your time. Say, for example, I want a tariff of 0.2 that is applied in the time of use between midnight time T2 and here I just basically apply on a particular time frame, maybe Monday to Friday, because on a weekend I have another tariff, which is tariff T3 and so on, which is 0.3, and time T3 is here. So that's how we create time of use based tariff, and the system will calculate the cost based on the tariff that you have entered here. Okay.
Great, thanks so much, Antonio. Unfortunately, I think that's about all the time that we have today for questions. However, I would like to invite all attendees to contact us directly through our website. We will also be distributing this. We have 2 webinar recordings. We had another one yesterday. Together with the slides, we'll be distributing that shortly after later today. Um, following which you can contact us with any other questions you may have. But before we close this webinar and before we say goodbye, we have another new exciting announcement to let you all know about, and that is to save the date for next year's Partners Workshop happening on the 23rd of March 2020. This workshop basically coincides with the Green Bold Europe event that's happening next year, that's kind of based around green building, sustainability in the built environment, and focuses a lot on LEED certification. Now, we had a partners workshop 2 years ago in 2017, which was really successful, and created a networking opportunity and a network of energy professionals that shared lessons learned from their projects, share expertise, presentations, knowledge in the energy management space. So we were quite excited to be hosting another one next year. And the location and the speakers and all the details are to be confirmed and to be announced. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll be sending more information on that a bit later on before the Christmas break. But for now, we'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you to Antonio for your presentation and for sharing all the latest developments, sharing your insights with us. It was very good, very informative. And thank you to the attendees as well. Thank you for taking your time out and spending an hour and a half out of your day with us. We hope that you have found this insightful, informative, and we hope to keep in contact with you following the webinar.
Yes, thank you very much for all of the attendees. It's been a very kind of success yesterday and today. It's great to have so many questions, and but please do get in touch with me, with our sales team, with Amy, with Anna, with all the other people. We're here to make this a success, and we hope to see you in Dublin in March. The event is always a great event for collaborating, spark new initiative, new kind of be part of the network and the community. And yes, I wish you a very Merry Christmas as well. We're getting close to the end of the year, so happy Christmas to all of you.